Pep Talk UK. It's time!
Oi, oi! Welcome to the Pep Talk UK Sports Podcast, the podcast that talks major football and boxing news from around the globe. Real points of view from a real panel. Hashtag Real Talk on Pep Talk. I'm your host Frankie B, and I'm joined by a special panel today. Firstly, from the beautiful capital of France, Paris, Pascal, how are ya?
À la street, je suis fiancé! Frankie B! Comment ça va, mon ami? Comment ça va?
Yeah, all good. I'm blessed, mate. I am blessed. Every day of my life, I am blessed.
Very, very pleased to hear that. Very, very pleased. You seem blessed better than Kim Kardashian. You know, she lost $10 million worth of jewelry. So,
Tragic.
She's not singing the song you're singing, I'm afraid. But Paris is a beautiful city, you know. Frankie, you have to come down. You always stay in London. Come to Paris.
Moving on, making another appearance on the show from Boxing Luton, boxing journalist, man like JP. JP.
Hello there. To be sure. Hello there.
How are ya?
I'm great, thank you very much. Thank you for having me back, by the way.
Do you know what, JP, like, I always thought JP stood for Japan, and I thought that was quite strange for an Irish guy.
Yeah, it stands for John Paul, but not in the French J-E-N.
Okay.
John Paul, just plain old John Paul after the Pope.
So it's not Sean Paul, you know, the reggae artist?
Well, it depends who I'm talking. Well, actually, yeah, you know, I probably could carry that one off as long as nobody could see me and, you know, I could just say it.
Sean Paul. Okay, JP, do you want to shout out your social media whilst you're on?
Yeah, I'm at Boxing Luton or Facebook.com/Boxing Luton, just promoting all the boxers within the town, anything between the gyms to the amateurs to the pros. That's what I'm supporting and that's what I'm doing, yeah.
Top stuff.
Thank you.
I would also like to welcome finally, due to popular demand, former multi-kickboxing champion turned aspiring boxer, Angela Hebton.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm all good. Angela, can I get a G-unit?
No.
Oh dear.
How you doing?
I would have done that.
Oh yeah, JP would have done that. JP, G-unit.
G-unit. Your face, Angela.
Oh, I've gone a bit red.
So how's things? All good?
Everything's good. I'm blessed, thank you.
Brilliant. You want to shout out your social media once again?
Yeah, firstly, thanks for having me back, by the way, guys. Social media, Instagram, just Ange_boxing, Snapchat at Angela Hebden, and Twitter at Angela Hebden.
Now it's time for some real talk on Pep Talk. As ever, we start with the football. Breaking news this evening, Rangers midfielder Joey Barton has been charged with breaking rules relating to gambling on football matches. The 34-year-old is accused by the Scottish Football Association of placing 44 bets between the 1st of July and the 15th of September this year. JP, directly to my first question, do you think he used Betfair or Bet365?
I think he probably went with the one that has Ray Winston bang a couple of quid on its probably did that, I reckon. You know, Joey's like, he's easily influenced. The thing is, it's quite important, the fact that they said about him betting between the 1st of July and onwards, because the 1st of July is when he actually started playing football in Scotland. They're saying that if you play football in England, often they say that you can bet on teams, just not on your own. But if you play football in Scotland, you can't actually bet on any football whatsoever if you're a footballer. So that's why that's quite important. So it's probably going to get to the fact that he's probably going to get a ban from football, and he's going to end up betting on more football in Scotland than he ever actually got to play.
That sounds well dodgy. Pascal,
Oui.
Joey Barton in the dock again. Your reaction as a Frenchman?
Joey Barton, I remember Joey Barton when he was at Marseille. and very, very, tenacious player. But, are we really surprised? Let's face it, Joey Barton he's always been a bit of an interesting character, a bit of a thug in, playing football. And, Joey Barton only has himself to blame, for this. He's a very well-paid footballer. Why is he doing betting on himself and on games that just don't understand? But, I'm glad that they are clamping down on the corruption. And Joey Barton, will set the example for other players out there who are, basically being greedy. They should concentrate on playing football and allow the family members maybe to make the money that their players are currently making. So Joey Barton, good riddance.
Right, now we're going to talk the Premiership. Now to last weekend's football. The key result of the weekend was Manchester City losing their 100% record to the unbeaten Spurs in a 2-0 defeat. Kolarov had an absolute mare. I was bigging him up last week. How stupid was I? City have lost their record now. JP, how do you feel about City moving forward? Do you think their weaknesses have now been exposed?
You know what, when we started talking about this beginning of the season, I thought, City will come apart at some point during the season and Man United will push forward with Mourinho. But actually, as the season started, it actually looked the other way around, that City were going to be unstoppable and actually United were going to come apart. But this last week, with the game at Celtic and the game at Tottenham, now you're starting to see maybe there is a switch and maybe trying to figure out whether or not City can go forward or whether or not they're going to be, whether it's going to knock them back. But it's hard to know. There's so many good players. I'm not sure whether or not this is a sign of how bad City are, or actually, much as it pains me to say it, how good Tottenham are this season. So we'll have to wait and see. They've got plenty more games to play, but yeah, it's definitely a setback for them.
Pascal, we talked about the strength of Spurs many times. Is Pochettino the new special one?
Frankie B, it's very, very probable. I was reading an article about Hugo Lloris, and Hugo Lloris said in an interview that he wasn't surprised that the Spurs team defeated Manchester City because there's a lot of quality. And to Pochettino's credit, he's been very, very good at unearthing good players. Son has been a revelation for Tottenham. He's scoring quite a lot of goals. He didn't score during that game, but he certainly has given Spurs some very, very good options. And Pochettino, to me, he seems to be proving himself as an elite manager. He still has to win a trophy, but he's very young. He has the opportunity to learn and to adorn his craft a bit more, but he's certainly the kind of manager that can take Spurs to a glorious, decade peut-être, or even a glorious season. He was very close last season to winning his first Premiership trophy for Spurs and for himself. And to me, it seems that Pochettino's getting closer and closer to getting a trophy of some sort.
Pascal, is that what you call Delphine, the special one?
Delphine is the special woman, bien sûr. She does very special things.
Okay. That story will run and run. Now to Liverpool, picking up points under the radar. Klopp's men inflicted a 2-0 defeat on Swansea. Pascal, how far do you think Liverpool can go this season?
Frankie B, it's very, very interesting. The German is marching on with this team, and he seems to have found a formula that is, effective, and the Jurgen Klopp way of football is beginning to cement itself inside the Liverpool team. And it's going to be a very competitive league, because we talked about Spurs earlier on, but Liverpool are very much in a mix. Liverpool do not have the number of fixtures that the rest of the Premiership clubs have, notably the top four, and I expect Liverpool to go from strength to strength. There's still very much the January transfer window, and there's been a lot of speculation about players coming in and players going. But if Jurgen Klopp is able to keep his Liverpool team, in the top four by Christmas, and add to the team with some very good acquisitions, it could be a very interesting, final end of season. But also, I read a very interesting article from KB that Liverpool were also one of the top 10 in the top 10 teams around Europe, you have spent over 300 million pounds on players. You know, so they've spent quite a lot of money. I know it's very difficult to see when you look at Liverpool. You know, it's a bit like a very cheap car that has very good alloy wheels and very good exhaust pipes. You wonder where did the money go? But you know, they've bought Sadio Mane, they've bought Adam Lallana, Firmino, and all these good players. You know, for the last few seasons, has amounted to 300 million pounds worth of investment. So you know, it's not surprising that they are performing well. And I think we should not be surprised that Liverpool will compete till the end, because when Brendan Rodgers was manager of Liverpool and they didn't have to worry about anything else but domestic competition, they almost won the title. Yeah. So it's definitely history repeating itself.
Definitely, and hopefully they won't have a midfield player that slips to let through the opposition striker to score a goal. Well,
that depends. You know, we see the state of Anfield. They throw bananas on the pitch, and that's what happens. You know, you can fall down.
Angela, the result effectively gave Francisco Guidolin the sack, and they've appointed Bob Bradley. Ryan Giggs has been overlooked. Will Swansea regret that decision?
Do you know what? I think so. I really do. I think, you know, how can you take that opportunity away from someone like Ryan Giggs, you know, with every accolade that he possesses? He was the interim manager for Man United for 4 games. He was under the tutelage of one of the greatest managers that, you know, this country and Scotland obviously have ever, you know, in the world even, has ever seen. And I just think it would have been a great opportunity for a Welshman, you know, who's obviously got the club's best interests at heart, you know, to have really kind of given it the best shot that he possibly could. And I just think it's such a shame that they haven't been able to give him that opportunity and brought in an American that, you know, none of us have really heard of. Has he really got the club's best interest at heart? Is Swansea, is Wales, are they really going to take to him? I just think it would have been a really, really nice kind of tribute to Ryan Giggs, really, to kind of give him that opportunity.
I think Ryan Giggs could have spoke Welsh to the players a lot more easier than Bob Bradley.
Yeah, definitely. I think that might come a little bit more natural to him. But again, you know, nearly 20 years in Premiership football, one of the greatest footballers that Wales has ever produced, for sure. You know, one of the best Premiership players that we've probably ever had. It's a name that everyone knows. And yeah, I think they're definitely going to regret that decision.
Definitely. Now to Manchester United, your team, Manchester United.
Come on, United.
United.
Yeah.
Well, they don't seem to be clicking. They drew 1-1 with Stoke at home.
I know.
And this time it weren't Rooney's fault. JP, do you think Mourinho is losing his special touch?
It's hard to know, because I mean, I didn't see any of the game. I was listening to it. My brother's a Man U fan, so we were going somewhere on Saturday in the car, and I was listening to it. But from what I could hear on TalkSport, is that in the first half, United could have been about 6-0 up. It was just one of those games. And then I listened to it when they went ahead in the second half, and then I think it was about 8 minutes of time, and Stoke equalised. And it's just one of those games, and having watched Arsenal for about 20 years, you just have games like that. So it's hard to know from a game like that, because Stoke have been really crap, so maybe they just had a good day. But I think the bigger telling will be when they come in the big games, and think United, when they really need to pick up those points to catch up on City on the stuff that they've dropped. We'll see it from there, but it could have just been one of those days. But unlike other teams from before, I'm not sure Mourinho will get a hell of a lot more time. He's lost the Manchester Derby early in the season. He had a couple of crap games in the Europa League. They won 1-0 the other night. Nobody really got that excited about that. So he needs to pick up a few results now just to stop the press, because you know what they're like. They'll be on his case forever. 5 years ago with Chelsea, he couldn't do any wrong. Now they've kind of seen through it, and now they're going to be any little mistake, which other managers would rightfully get away with. They won't let them get away with it. So we just need to just start pushing them forward and see where we go from there.
About Stoke, do you think this result has helped them to turn the corner now? Yes. And can they kick on from here?
Yeah, well, I don't know if to kick off now, because there's a few games in a row where they conceded about 4 goals, but I'd say he probably has about 4 more games to turn it around.
Now, Pascal, your team Arsenal, they beat Burnley 1-0 to a controversial goal. Was it handball? or was it offside, or was it both?
Well, Frankie B, when I was watching the game, in real time, it looked like there was a bit of a mess, so, a bit of a ping pong between Chamberlain and Koscielny. But if I'm brutally honest, it was a handball, It was very much of an handball, and Arsenal were very, very, very lucky to take the 3 points. Burnley played a very good defensive game. They were very well disciplined, and they contained Arsenal very well. They had chances of their own, they could have scored. But in the end, I think it's very good for that Arsenal were able to create some chances, and they were able to win the game. It's part of football. Sometimes you play very well, you lose the game. Sometimes you play very badly, you win the game. And sometimes you just rely on sheer luck. But Frankie B, if we consider the new changes in the game, next year they want to introduce video refereeing, and in the forthcoming season, if this technology is introduced in a modern game, then unfortunately those type of points will no longer be awarded. So the game and the league will become more difficult to pick up points from. But it's a good point for Arsenal. Manchester United were drawing to Stoke. Manchester City lost to Spurs, so it was important for Arsenal to keep the pressure, and to maintain some momentum. Chelsea as well were winning their games, and Liverpool was also winning against Swansea, so it was good for Arsenal to get the 3 points. However it comes, sometimes you just have to take the result,
What about Olivier Giroud? 2 substitutions, and Giroud wasn't included in any of those. Does he have a future at Arsenal, Pascal?
Frankie B, Olivier, I don't know what's going on between Olivier and Arsene. Maybe they were arguing over which bottle of wine to drink for dinner, red or white, I don't know. But I'm a bit concerned because, Olivier hasn't played a full 90-minute game, since he returned from the Euros. It's been a very interesting, last season, Olivier started almost every single game that he could start. This season, Arsenal have failed to play, used any of the strikers effectively for 90 minutes. They're playing, Sanchez as a fake striker, essentially, which seems to be working so far. But perhaps it's part of Arsene Wenger's genius to maybe rest Giroud a bit longer, because he's getting older. He's not the paciest of players, and perhaps he feels that Giroud can provide a bit more support towards the end of the first part of the season, perhaps. So Arsenal are notorious to getting the injuries towards Christmas and after Christmas. So to play with the team that they have now, perhaps is a better position for Arsenal to pick up some points, to play a different type of football, less predictable. And when Giroud can come in and play fit and play the full 90 minutes, that will also give Arsenal a new dimension to the game, and I can only attribute it to that. I don't mind Giroud. I think Giroud is a good player. He offers Arsenal strength. He can hold the ball very well. He's not the prolific striker that Arsenal have always produced, but he does the job for the team,
I think Giroud's very much a streaky striker, and he's a different player to what Arsenal have in their current starting lineup. When Arsenal can't break through a defence on the ground, Giroud is the other option. That's how I see Giroud.
Ouais.
Now to Sunderland, they're yet to win a game this season, and they're really struggling. JP, does David Moyes need to look over his shoulder in terms of his job?
It's hard to know really, because they've just been... I remember about almost been 6 or 7 years ago when Sunderland were bottom of the table in the Championship and Roy Keane took over, and he pushed them from the bottom of the league all the way to the top. And on the last game of the season, I remember they played Luton, and they had to win and Birmingham had to lose, and they spanked Luton 5-0, and I was there at Luton watching it. And they don't think they got relegated since then from the Premier League that year they went up. But they've been through so many managers since then, and all the stuff that's gone on there with the owners, Ellis Short and all that, and Niall Quinn taking over, they've just been a real basket case. And I think it's just come to the point now where they know that they're crap.
JP, speaking of a team trying to get back to winning ways, Chelsea. They won at the weekend. Do you think Chelsea can do something serious this season in terms of Europe or the title?
No, I don't think I'm not sure they can. I think there's when we spoke about this for the season, I think with Conte, I think there's going to be too much going on between him and the players. It'll just get to the point where the players will start moaning about how they don't like the discipline, they don't like this, that and the other, and Chelsea will just become Chelsea and just go into the background and he'll be kicked out. And that was my prediction at the beginning of the season, that Guardiola or Man City would struggle, Man United would do okay. Obviously they didn't start okay, but Man City are doing a little bit bad now, but that Chelsea would be nowhere near, because as much as they need somebody who can give their players a kick up the arse, the problem is that their players don't really like being kicked up the arse. So as soon as things start going wrong, like they did last season with Mourinho, there will always be somebody to blame, and the chances are that's going to be the manager. So he will do his best, he'll discipline them, he'll probably push them up the table, but inevitably I don't think they're going to be good enough to challenge for the title.
Well, away from Chelsea, another manager's lost his job, and that is Roberto Di Matteo. JP, another one bites the dust. Why has Di Matteo gone so early?
He must hate football now. Do you remember when he won the Champions League and then got sacked the next season?
Yeah. I remember him walking up the steps telling Abramovich, I did it, I won it, I did it.
And he's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. And that's the exact look Abramovich gave him.
Yeah, thanks for your comments.
As an Irishman, JP, how do you view the whole Allardyce situation and the failure of the England team?
If Gareth Southgate is the answer, what was the question?
I ask myself that every day, mate.
I don't know. I just with England, it just gets me that there are so many good players in the team. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not as good as people say they are, but they're definitely very good players, and it never got with me that they couldn't click together and at least get the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, World Cups. Really disappointed with Allardyce. As much as I'm not really into him as a person, I thought maybe he would give him a bit of oomph, you know, because when I watch the Euros and I am an Ireland fan. It doesn't bother me how England do. My little boy's born and my wife's English, but you know, it does get really boring when you get to the tournament and they're gone and you're just watching the rest of the teams play. So I still want to see them do pretty well, you know. And it just baffles me that, you know, is this just another new head on a broom? Who's going to be able to do it from? Is it going to be an English manager? It's really hard to tell. And I just feel for the fans, because they watch qualifiers, they go and watch them. You watch games at Wembley and they're just bored. They're just bored watching these games, and then they get the European Champions, World Cups, and again it's just like it gets hyped up, not necessarily by the fans, definitely in the media, and then it just get knocked back down again. And you can just tell by that why people just don't want to go and watch them anymore, because they've just had 1996 with the semi-final of the Euros, isn't it? What are we talking, 20 years since that? They've had enough of it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know where to go from there. I don't know what you guys think. Where did it go from here? I don't know.
We all know what I think. I said it last week. You've got to get Alex Ferguson in that team.
Yeah, but you remember, Alex Ferguson, he's on a wee break at the moment.
Well, he needs to just cut that break a little bit short. I think it's been long enough, if I'm honest. They need to. I mean, how can you have Gareth Southgate and you've got Alex Ferguson sitting there? You know, this is what that I don't get about Swansea. You know, they wouldn't even let Ryan Giggs manage them, yet they've got Gareth Southgate managing England.
Now we're going to move on to the boxing. First and foremost, we'd like to recognise a young aspiring boxer who lost his life in the ring after collapsing during the contest. R.I.P. Mike Towell from Pep Talk UK. Now, as most know, there's only one Tyson Fury. So, Tyson Fury retires, then he comes back. This is all after failing a drug test and also being diagnosed as medically unfit. Angela, how do we assess Tyson Fury?
Oh man, the mind games. Oh, he's a genius. I'll tell you now, Tyson Fury is very, very clever. Last week I was saying, you know what, they made the right call if he's mentally incapable of getting in the ring, blah blah blah. I'm actually eating my words, because he obviously knew he was going to fail that drugs test. He obviously knew that, right? So
conspiracy theories.
So he's kind of pulled out of the fight before that. Absolute genius. He knows what he's doing. he's playing mind games with everybody, with other boxers, with the media, with the public. You know, his first tweet was saying retired. The next one, he was basically saying, you know, to the media, tut, shouldn't believe everything you read, right? So it was kind of throwing it back. You know, everyone says don't believe everything you read in the media. He's basically saying to the media, don't believe everything you read. He's very, very clever. You know, at the end of the day, I don't really know what more to say. I just think, you know, the Fury team are saying that because of the hatred that he receives because of his heritage, obviously coming from a gypsy background and what have you. I've got to be honest, I've read some of the tweets that people tweet at him, and he retweets them. I'm actually disgusted, to be honest with you, at what people actually write at him. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, Tyson Fury is one of the most controversial characters, so to blame his heritage for the hatred that he receives, I would say that a lot of that is spiked by a lot of his comments. You know, so people are kind of fighting fire with fire. But, you know, should they strip his title belts? I mean, what do you think, guys? Personally, for me, come on, this is nothing that we haven't seen. This is nothing that we haven't seen within boxing. It's happened for years. It's not a banned substance, right? So, however, heavyweight world champion of the world, is he setting a good example for the boxing world? Yeah. Is he a role model? No, not really. But yes, he really is. He really is.
Yeah, he's a madman. He's a madman. He's a mad genius. Crazy.
So eccentric, but. You know, if you're going to draw that kind of attention to yourself in the media, you're going to have to be prepared for the good and the bad backlash that comes with that.
So, Pascal.
Oui.
Tyson Fury is likely to lose his belts, and it's been muted that Klitschko might fight Anthony Joshua. As breaking tonight on Sky Sports News, what do you think will happen?
Well, that's a very interesting question. So, it looks like you asked the two questions, Frankie B. So, on the premise that Anthony Joshua is fighting Vladimir Klitschko, what I would suggest may well happen is that Anthony Joshua may prove to have probably faced the best opponent so far in his career, and it would probably be an interesting fight because Klitschko is a bit of a wounded animal. You know, following the Fury fight, he's a frustrated man that wants to get back to the top one more time before he retires for good. You know, having started a family with a very attractive wife of his, an American actress. So I think that it's going to be very interesting. And, you know, Anthony Joshua, very tall, very strong, you know, Adonis-looking man. But the chin of Joshua is a bit suspect. And if Vitaly lands very well on that chin, you know, he's good night, Anthony. But at the same time, the speed of Anthony Joshua will perturb, you know, Vladimir Klitschko. I would love for Joshua to win it because he will be, you know, a very good way of Vitaly to bow down gracefully and to give him the baton to somebody like Joshua to face an all-out British heavyweight title. Fury Joshua, Wembley Stadium. I can say it already. He would be absolutely electric. And on that particular basis, you know, Joshua edges him, but do not think he will be a knockout fight. I reckon he could go up to 12 rounds, you know, and I can see a majority decision going to Anthony Joshua.
I personally think that if Joshua catches Klitschko with a solid enough shot, I think he could knock him out.
Yeah.
Oh.
I do. I actually think if he catches Klitschko with a good enough shot, I think he could. It's not like Klitschko hasn't been knocked out before, right?
Yeah, very true. So,
I mean, I don't know. I think it might go the 12 rounds, and that would be really good to see because we've never seen Joshua go 12 rounds. So that would be very, very interesting in itself. But I don't know. I think Joshua might have a chin. I mean, Dillian did wobble him. But I don't know. I just think Joshua could do it. I do think he could knock Klitschko out.
But Angela, you know, Klitschko doesn't have a very good defense, but he's very good at holding. I thought that he was French, because he likes the contact. He likes to contact and to hug. And when I look at Klitschko, I don't see very much a defensive boxer. Very good at coming forward, but also very good at holding. And which is why I think perhaps he would go for 12 rounds, because Joshua has not yet had the opportunity to fight somebody of Klitschko's caliber. I mean, we gotta give Klitschko some credit. He's an ex-world champion. He's one of the longest reigning defending champions in the sport of boxing. That counts for something. So I'm giving Klitschko a bit of respect by giving him the 12 rounds. Having gone 12 rounds with Fury, I think perhaps it's a fair call to say, but you are right. Joshua is very strong.
He's very strong, and also as every fight Joshua has, he's maturing. He's becoming more patient. He's not, he's holding himself, and he's waiting for that shot. He's just becoming more and more patient, and nothing's really phasing him. He's relaxing. Every single fight he has, he's more and more relaxed, and. Right. As long as he doesn't let the occasion get to him of fighting someone of the caliber of Klitschko, I think he could do it. I really do think he could do it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's going to be a very, very exciting fight if it happens.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think what will probably happen with Fury is that when we saw this a week ago, and we had the story about his depression and things like that, what probably would have happened was that Fury would have become what we call a champion in recess. So in other words, if he wasn't able to continue to carry on to fight to get his belt, so because of his depression, or if he was injured or something like that, he would have been a champion in recess, which means that he's still a champion of all the belts that he holds. Other people can fight for those belts, but the minute he feels better, he can come back and fight for those belts. He is the first guy to come back and fight. He's the mandatory straight away, Yeah. I'm not sure where that goes with the cocaine thing. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. That's the difficulty where it comes from, because he's no longer just not being able to fight because he's depressed, whatever. If they really come down hard on that, and bear in mind he could have been taking cocaine because he's depressed. I mean, obviously, mental illness is a massive part of boxing. Let's not forget that. It's difficult to know where it goes. Now, I think he'd be stripped from his belts. I don't think they can take the Ring magazine away from him, because that's like an honorary belt for people who are complete world champions, and it's hard to know where we go from there. I think
he's been given something like, he's been given a time frame where he has to produce a document from the doctors to say that that is definitely the reason that he can't, because with the cocaine, because it's not a banned substance, I don't think they can. They can. I could be wrong. We've seen boxers in the past take drugs and stuff. It hasn't really affected them with their. And
anyone who's taken cocaine, I'm not saying I have, of course, but it's definitely not performance enhancing. It definitely doesn't enhance your performance. Just saying that.
Definitely not.
It does the opposite.
But I think what will happen is that they'll probably mess around with this for the next 2 months and a half, and then it'll just come to that lovely 12-month part where he hasn't boxed, and say, you haven't boxed in 12 months, we take him off you. And I think what will happen with Anthony Joshua in the next few weeks is that there's been a lot of talk about Joseph Parker fighting him and Klitschko fighting him. I don't think either of those fights will happen, because Parker is too much of a risky fight, I think, for Joshua at the moment. Eddie Hearn needs to make some more money from Anthony Joshua. The Klitschko fight probably could get made, but there's no way he's going to make that fight in 6 weeks. He needs to build that fight for about 3 or 4 months to maximise potential. There's no way he's going to try and fight that fight in the O2 under 20,000 people. He's going to want somewhere a hell of a lot bigger to put that kind of a fight, because that is like handing over all of the belts on quite a Tyson Furies, but technically they were Klitschko's ones, over to Joshua. He's going to want to make that a massive, big ceremony that he's going to want to do. The most likely fight I'd say you're going to see in the next few weeks, if it happens, will actually be, and there was a few rumours tonight, that you might, and this is a big might, you might see Anthony Joshua's fight on November 26th get moved over to December the 10th, and it could be against David Hay.
Wow.
Wow. Saying that.
Does David Hay want it?
David Hay tweeted today. Big news coming soon on the next fight, 10th of December. You'll be happy.
Now it's interview time. Pep Talk UK, Shaz Chowdhury attended a Dove Box Promotions press conference hosted by promoter Tommy Dove for Unleashed, taking place on the 15th of October 2016 at York Hall. Shaz managed to meet up with Tommy Dove and some of his fighters who are on the card, such as Southern Area Heavyweight Champ Dominic Akinlade with his strength and conditioning coach Noel Cullen, Eric the Eagle Ochieng, Ashley Bailey Dumetz, and light heavyweight Murkus the Great Williams. Shaz also managed to speak to AJ Carter, making his return to the ring, and the exciting prospect Chris Too Slick Congo.
Pep Talk UK are joined today by Mr. Tommy Dove of Dove Box Promotions. How you doing, Tommy?
Not bad, Shaz, mate. Yourself?
I'm very well. I seem to be seeing you a lot. We were together only a couple of days ago, but today we're gonna showcase all your boxers. Now you've got a card coming up on the 15th of October at York Hall. Now, who's on display? Who should we come and watch? And how are you calling it for the night?
Well, we've got a really, really strong card on the night. 15th of October at the York Hall, a show called Unleashed. It's headlined by Eric the Eagle Ochieng and a senior, the Ghost Byfield, for the Southern Area Light Middleweight title. We've then got, on the undercard, we've got 3 heavyweights, Dominic Akinlade, Tom Little and AJ Carter. Then below that, we've got some more Dove Box Promotions fighters in Murkus Williams, 6'5" light heavyweight, a real talent. We've got Ashley Dumetz, the middleweight, ready to start pushing him on now, because he's won his last fight. He's got another fight in this one against Dan Blackwell, and after that we're going to start really sort of seeing where we are with him, because we think he could go really far in a short space of time. We've got Chris Congo, welterweight, trained by Ted Bammy down at McGuell's. Potentially a real star, and again delighted to have him on the show. Alongside those guys, we've got Richie Gray, the Essex boy, and Chesney Hawkins making his debut at light welter, both trained by Alec Wilkie down at the Lansbury. They're both on the show. We got Tom Little back again. I know we mentioned him earlier, but we got Tom Little after his fight against Dominic Akinlade. He's back again. We can't get rid of him. And then we've got Martin Hillman, featherweight, fighting in a 6-rounder. I believe he's got a Southern Area title fight about a month or 6 weeks later, so up against Billy Boy Jones. So that's going to be a nice little fight for him just to tick over. And yeah, a couple more, and it should be a packed night and a great night at the York Hall.
For our listeners that want to come down, watch all these boxers in action, where and how can they get tickets?
They can get tickets off our ticket agent, Ticketmaster. It's our exclusive ticket agent, but they can also go via our website, which is www.doveboxpromotions.co.uk, or alternatively www.doveboxpromotions.com. And as I always say, if you know the boxers, get in touch with them and buy from the boxers, because you're supporting them as well.
Tommy, you're an absolute star. It's always a pleasure meeting you, and I've had fun at previous Dove Box Promotion cards, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on fight night.
Me too, Shaz. Thanks very much, mate, and big up to all the Pep Talk listeners.
Thank you very much, bruv. Pep Talk UK are joined now by Dominic Akinlade, Top Gun himself, Southern Area champ. How you doing, champ?
I'm very well, my friend. How are you?
I'm always well. Better for seeing you.
Amen. Thank you very much. You too, man. It's good to see you, as always.
Now, I was at your last fight when you fought Tom Little.
Yeah.
A tasty encounter.
Yeah.
You trained hard for that with a chap that I know called Noel Cullen. You still training with Noel?
Oh, yeah, of course. He's the bread and butter in the whole mechanism. That's me. You know, he's very instrumental to getting me strong and fit for fights. So yeah, man, he's 100%. Man, he's one of the building blocks.
He tweeted me. I'm trying to lose weight, and he said, "Why don't I come down and do a session?" But to be honest, when I saw you training with him, I'll be honest, you were doing some crazy things with Noel, and I was just standing there watching and sweating. Is he still abusing you?
Yeah, man, he doesn't change his tactics. The thing about it with Noel is that we don't know how real strong I am, so it's like we're just testing me and see where I'm at. So, and that weight that you saw me pushing was the first I've ever done, because I'm not really a weightlifter like that. So, you know, he tests areas and see areas in which I'm weak. You know, he strengthens. So, you know, he knows what he's doing, man.
Now, fight night's nearly here for you. Are you ready for this one? What can we expect come 15th October, your call?
Well, from the Tom Little fight, I've learned a lot. You know, it was 10 rounds. He was very slick in that ring. So I learned a lot how to, and have developed since that time. So I'm unaware of my opponent at this moment in time. A few of the guys that we had pulled out, you know, after, you know, they reviewed certain things about me, and so now we're just looking for someone. But Tommy, I have faith in Tommy Dove. He'll sort it out. So come fight night. I mean, I'm ready. You know, I'm weighing in now at 16 stone 10. So really and truly, I should be about 17 stone 5. So I still got 2 weeks to put on at least half a stone. You know, but it's just a testimony to how difficult the training is with Noel. He puts me under pressure.
He calls it monster making.
Oh yes, definitely monster making, because you got to be a monster to do what he wants you to do. You know, it's real deal.
Now, as you know, I'm a Leeds fan, proper football club. You've got the nickname Top Gun. Why are you called Top Gun?
I'm an Arsenal supporter. We whooped Chelsea last week. You know, I enjoyed watching that, and I was tweeting it all the time.
Now, you call yourself Top Gun. I was hoping it was more of a Maverick stroke Tom Cruise-esque Top Gun line, but if you're a Gooner and you're a heavyweight and you're a Southern Area champ, do you know what? You're not going to get any mouth from me, so you carry on and support who you like, because I don't fancy getting beaten up.
Say no more, my friend. It's all good.
Thank you very much for today. I know it's not a title fight, so you'll still have the strap either way round your waist, but you're going to go and do the business on the 15th of October, and we'll then be watching where your next title fight comes up. English title, British, European. There's a tasty little British fight happening. Mm-hmm. Who knows, the winner may come and start calling you out.
Say no more. Listen, we're all ready to go. I mean, first of all, I'm looking for the English. So next, the British title fight will be contested, and they will settle their differences. Whoever is victorious, that's down to them. But I still have my path, that certain things and goals I want to achieve as I go along for experience purposes and whatnot. The English title is next, and then after that, we'll start reviewing certain fighters, and then look towards possibly Commonwealth, and then British, and then we move on to the European. And then we have people like Anthony Joshua and what's his name, the big mouth Alabama dude, WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder. We've got those in our sights in the near distant future. Now
you're naming these people. You've already shared a ring with Anthony Joshua, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have. We sparred in. I fought him as an amateur. He won that, not by much, but you know, we sparred again in late 2014. But I've come a long way from that, so. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the future, trust me.
It's always great interviewing you, but my neck's hurting because you're that much taller than me. So I wish you the best of luck fight night. I'll be there, and we'll hopefully catch up straight afterwards. All right, take care, Dom.
Thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate it.
Lovely. Pep Talk UK are joined by a friend of the show, Noel Cullen, who our friend Dominic Akinlade just mentioned is monster making. How you doing, Noel?
I'm doing well, thanks for having me back.
Now, monster making, Dominic Akinlade looks meaner, leaner than I've ever seen him, and he says the best ingredient in that is you, and you're doing it. Now, on social media, you've been giving me training lessons, but I know how you train people, and to be honest, I couldn't take a session with you. You're too strong for me.
Mate, you're more than welcome. Anytime you want to come and train with any of the guys that we train, whether it be Dominic Akinlade, Raheem Noble, Ian Lewis and Hannah Rankin, my light middleweight female, you're more than welcome.
Well, I'm just glad to come watch and sweat and lose a few pounds just watching what you put them through. What's the secret? How do you motivate these guys?
I think it's a lot to do with people-person skills, because the likes of Dominic, and I'll say Ian as well, who's training really well at the moment for his British heavyweight title fight, nobody's been able to get these guys in the gym. It's quite a well-known fact that some of them have been less than enthusiastic, shall we say, about the conditioning side of their fighting. We get on, they've seen the results of our training, which makes them train harder. They're motivated, what can I say?
Now, you're a trainer of pros. say Joe Public or one of our listeners wants to come and have a session with you, is that possible? If so, how do they find you? What are your media handles so they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, that's more than possible. I do train normal people, shall we say, as well. They can find me on Facebook under my normal name, on Twitter at NSC Health and Performance, and hit me up on the Gymbox website at Farringdon in London. And
then you can create loads of little baby monsters.
I don't know what my fiancée would say about that, but yeah, something like that.
Lovely, Noel. I hope to see you fight tonight. I know you'll be in and around, and we wish you the best of luck with everything you're doing and your monster making.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Pep Talk UK are joined now by the main event, as described by Tommy Dove. I'm with Eric Ochieng, who's also known as the Eagle. How are you doing?
I'm doing better than good, man. I'm doing awesome. How are you keeping yourself?
I'm always well. Better for now having you speaking to me. Fight night's almost upon us, 15th of October. How have you been prepping for this fight? What have you been doing, and what can we expect?
Yeah, the preparation has been going great. Left no stone unturned. Yeah, we've just been working in the gym, putting the hours, the second, the minutes in the bank, and we've been investing. So we're looking to get our investment on the 15th of October.
Now, what weight do you fight at?
I fight as a light middleweight. I'm strong at light middleweight. I can make the weight. I'm eating right. You know, I got a good dietitian. So, so it's just onwards and upwards. The ego is soaring.
Now, this is a title fight. What title are you fighting for?
Yeah, I'll be winning the Southern Area title. So that's the title I'll be taking on the 15th of October.
I love that. I'll be taking it. There's confidence oozing through you. Now, you're wearing a T-shirt that says the Eagle has landed. Where did you pick up the nickname the Eagle?
Yeah, actually, when I turned professional, I was thinking, like, what name should I use? I wasn't sure about it. And, actually, I prayed about it, and asked my good friend as well, Jason Small. And Jason Small came with why don't you call yourself the Eagle? And I said, it sounds good. Let me check it out. So I went out and did a bit of study. I like to get deep and understand, what the meanings of the name. So I check out the name Eagle. Actually, my name Eric means eternal ruler. If you check out the meaning of Eric, means eternal ruler. And the eagle rules in the bird's kingdom. He's the king in the bird kingdom. So as Eric the Eagle, I seek to rule in my as a light middleweight division. So that's why I call myself the Eagle. And actually, there's three animals that only God identify Himself with. One is the lamb of God. Second is the Lion of Judah. And third is the eagle. The scripture say those way up on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up as wings as eagle. So the eagle is an awesome bird. So and that's what I am.
Well, there you go, Pep Talk listeners. We now know why the Eagle has landed. Well, good luck fight night. We're going to be there. Pep Talk UK will be enjoying this fight, and like you said, we'd like to see you with the belt over your head.
Without doubt, I'm really grateful to be here, and I'm looking to put good performance. I want to thank all my fans. I want to thank the team Eagle, thank my sponsor Revolution, the Revolution Studio Training PT. I'm really grateful, man, and the best is yet to come.
Last thing, Eric, can you let us know, fans, if they can follow you on social media? What are your handles so that they can give you a little follow?
Yeah, definitely. I will appreciate that. They can follow me on Twitter as Eric the Eagle, Instagram as Eric the Eagle, Facebook Eric Ochieng the Eagle. Yes, the Eagle has landed.
Nice one, Eric. Good luck fight night. Thank you very much for speaking to Pep Talk UK.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. God bless. Bye.
Another fighter on the Dove Box promotion is Mr. Ashley Bailey Dumetz, who we know very well because you've previously been on Pep Talk UK. How you doing, Ashley?
Yeah, I feel really good. Good, nice and ready for the press conference.
Now, you've got a date coming up, 15th of October. How's training been? It's been some weeks since we caught up. How's your prep been? How's training? How are you feeling?
Training has been really well. I'm actually ahead of schedule. And I just feel really strong. I feel really in a good place, like mentally and physically. I feel in better shape than I was even in my last fight. So, yeah, I'm just raring to go.
Do you know what? You've almost got a fight stance now. You look like you're ready to. This is a press conference. You look like you're ready to spark someone out here.
I mean, I guess it's just habit. Like all the training I've been doing. I mean, if the fight was tonight, I'd be ready to have it tonight.
That's what we like to hear, Ashley. Just wanted to say good luck for the fight. Hope it goes well. We'll be watching, and we joined you on your journey, and we're going to be following you all the way.
Thank you very much, man. I just want to shout out to Pep Talk UK, also my sponsors, Energy Gym in Forest Hill, and David Oliver at Fit for Less, and all the people that come in to support me.
Now, our listeners that want to follow you, how can they do it? What's your Twitter handle? What's your Insta handles?
You can find me on Twitter at Ashley Lionheart BD, on Facebook Ashley BD, and on Instagram Ash Dumetz.
Lovely. Thank you very much. We'll see you fight night.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the interview.
Lovely. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Pep Talk UK listeners, we're in for a treat. We're joined by Murkus, the Great.
Of course.
How you doing, Murkus? If you can let us know your full name, a little bit about yourself, and the weight you're fighting at.
My name is Murkus Williams, Murkus with a K, alias the Great. Fighting at light heavyweight, and I love to fight. What can I say?
Now, Murkus, I've seen you fight. I've seen you train. I've seen you spar. I've seen you fight at York Hall. And one thing about you that I like is, A, you're 6'5". You remind me of a boxer that I saw when I was growing up, Mr. Tommy Hearns.
Oh, of course, the great Thomas Hearns.
Do you get that comparison a lot?
All the time, to the point that people say I even look like him, but I think I look a bit better.
I like that. A little bit of confidence. Now, you're fighting on the 15th of October on the Dove Box Promotions card. How's training been? How are you feeling? Are you ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll, ready to rumble, ready to fight. Training's been going quite well, actually. A lot better than last time. It's a bit more tough. I've been sparring a lot of other people. So, yeah, like, I'm ready.
Now, what are we going to expect? Are you going to start off at boxing, or are we going to KO this fella?
Listen, I would love to say I'm going to come out and knock him out and then get dressed and watch the rest of the boxing. I would love to say that, but it's boxing. You never know. I could win on points or I could win by decision. I want to knock him out.
Love it. Now, for all our listeners that want to give you a follow, what's your Twitter handle? What's your Insta handle? Where can people follow you?
Okay, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. My Twitter is thegreat2189. My Instagram is, I think it is _great_MA, and my Facebook, you just type in Murkus the Great Williams.
Lovely, Mark. It's always a pleasure speaking to you. Pep Talk UK will be following your career. Love speaking to you, love watching you train, and you've got a very, very enthusiastic personality. You have a good one, Murkus.
Thank you, you too. Yeah, you take care. All the best, man.
Pep Talk UK in for a treat. We're joined by Big Dog, Mr. AJ Carr. How you doing, AJ?
I'm very well, thank you, brother. How you doing?
I'm always well. Now, you're fighting on the 15th of October. How's training been? How are you feeling? Are you ready for this?
Training's going amazing. Always, no matter what the situation, just make the best out of it and train as hard as you can, or train as hard as I can. I'm just can't wait, really. The last few weeks before the fight is always the longest, but it's part of the game. When I get in there, I get to shine and do what I do.
Where are you looking to go with your career?
I would want to, like I was just saying earlier, achieve everything I possibly can as a professional from, Southern area, British, English, even prize fighter, just everything I possibly can as a professional, because I didn't have many amateur fights, so I didn't get to achieve much as an amateur. So I'd like to just take my career as long as I can and fight the best that I can.
Now, who's in your team? Who's your trainer? Where do you train? Who's around you?
My trainer is Richard the Secret Williams. I've been working for him now for just over 18 months, I believe. Things are going tremendously with him. learning a new style. Just the way he talks to me, the way he puts things across to me is great. And my manager, now Brian Lawrence, very well-renowned manager throughout the sport. I even do pad work with him from time to time. Working in terms of strength and conditioning with G-Force Fitness. Again, he's been doing an amazing job with me. And we're just all gearing up for October 15th.
We're behind you at Pep Talk UK. Now, if our listeners want to give you a follow, how can they do that?
First of all, I appreciate that. If you want to follow me on Facebook, it's AJ Carter. Also got the like page, AJ Big Dog Carter. Instagram is AJ Carter Official, and Twitter is AJ Carter Boxing.
AJ, I have to say, I love the name Big Dog. You take care. We'll be watching you fight night, and hope you the best with your career.
Thank you very much, and I'll see you on October the 15th.
Lovely. Cheers, AJ.
Take care.
And the last of our boxers today fighting on the Dove Box promotion event is, last but no means least, someone that I'm keeping an eye on personally. It's Chris Too Slick Congo. How you doing, Chris?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Now, you got to the presser a bit late today. You were doing a strength and conditioning session, but I'm just glad you've made it. If you can tell us about your debut, where you brought an army of fans to, and how that debut went.
My debut was a wonderful day, a day I'll never forget. I sold about 260 tickets. I had the whole majority of South London down, and I knocked out James Nesbitt within one round.
Your fans were delirious at the end of that. I've been to York Hall a lot, but York Hall, literally the roof came off that day. The euphoria, the excitement. Now, you're back at York Hall on the 15th of October. I've seen your Twitter and social handles, and are you ready to rock and roll?
100%, I'm ready to rock and roll. Been training hard as well, trying to spread the word as much as I can. Even doing radio interviews. I even got a radio interview coming up. So it will be on Westside Radio 10 till 1. So anything to plug away and to try and get more ticket sales, I'll do it.
Where are you training daily?
Daily, Monday to Friday. You can catch me at Miguel's Boxing Gym in Brixton.
And for those of our listeners that haven't come across you yet, what weight do you fight at?
I'm a welterweight. So,
And if I could press fast forward on your career now by 3 years, where do you want to be in 3 years?
3 years, I want to be having a British title, maybe even a European, and hopefully moving on to world level.
Me and some of the Pep Talk UK panel were there at York Hall. We're going to be there on the 15th. We're going to come watch you. We're going to come and support you. Now, just for the listeners that want to get hold of you or follow you, if you can let us know your Twitter and Insta handles where they can follow you, basically.
Yeah, my Twitter and Instagram is the same, and my @ is @BoxerChris F2D, the number 2D, F2D.
Chris, good luck on the 15th. We'll be cheering you on. I've got a feeling it's going to be a quick fire knockout again, but let's see, come 15th.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Now that's it for the Pep Talk UK Sports Podcast. I'd like to thank Angela, I'd like to thank JP, I'd like to thank Pascal. Join us again next week. Thank you.
Pep Talk UK.
Please follow us on social media. On Twitter, it's @PepTalk_UK, and Instagram, it's PepTalk_UK.